things like Medicare to make sure that doctors are encouraged to work as teams. Don't order 5 tests if you could just do 1 test and then email it to 5 different doctors. Pretty straightforward. Now, what I just described is the essence of what we're doing. And according to the Congressional Budget Office, it would save $1 trillion in our deficits, which is the single most important thing we can do, by the way, to reduce our deficit over the long term. Almost all the growth in deficit has nothing to do with my Recovery Act and has everything to do with the growing costs of Medicare and Medicaid. Almost all of it. You project out 20, 30 years, almost all the growth is because healthcare costs are just going out of control, and we've got an older population that's going to need more care. And if we can't figure out how to get a better bang for the buck, we're going to lose. So here's my thing. You got a better idea? Bring it on. But what I will not do is to stop working on this issue, because it is the right thing to do for America, and you need to let your members of Congress know they shouldn't give up. They should keep on pushing to make it happen. All right? Okay. All right. It's a guy's turn. It's a gentleman's turn. This gentleman right here in front. Go ahead. Hold on a second. We got a mic coming over here. That's right.
Okay. I'm Gary Meyer. I live in Hampton, New Hampshire, and I was a quality leader who worked with lean, and I know you're well aware that there's a lot of non-value-added work both within healthcare and within education and within a lot of businesses and government. You also talked eloquently about the need to have more jobs and to be more energy efficient. Right. All these things together require that we get a Healthcare Act reform passed in the Senate, a better one than we have today, and that we also get a Clean Air Act passed. Would you be willing to meet one-on-one with Senator Gregg to get these things passed in the Senate?
Oh, listen, I'm willing to meet with anybody, including Senator Gregg, who I offered a job to. I don't know if you guys remember that. I like Senator Gregg. I think he's a serious person. But you know that fiscal commission that I just talked about? That was Gregg's proposal. That was his proposal. It was Senator Judd Gregg and Senator Kent Conrad. And they had been advocating for this for years. Mitch McConnell, the Republican Senate president, Republican leader, had just a few months ago said this was the way to deal with this. So I said, great, let's do it. And suddenly they're gone. Now, not Judd. Judd's still supportive of it. So what we're going to try to do we're going to try to do it by executive order. My point is, the easiest thing to do in politics is to point fingers, to figure out who to blame for something, or to make people afraid of things. That's the easiest way to get attention. That's what reporters will report on. You call somebody a name, you say, look what a terrible thing they've done, and they're going to do more terrible things to you if you don't watch out. And you'll get a lot of press attention, and in some cases you can win elections, particularly when unemployment's 10%. What's hard is to figure out how to solve these problems. Our long-term deficit, if we can't control healthcare costs, I don't care who's talking about eliminating waste from the government, we can't solve the problem. A lot of people let me just give you one example. If you ask a lot of folks what accounts for the federal budget, they'll say foreign aid and pork projects. And if you just eliminated all the foreign aid and the pork projects, somehow we'd bring our deficit under control. Foreign aid accounts for about 1% of our federal budget. 1%. not 25%, not 20%, 1%. Earmarks, all these pork projects, a lot of them, by the way, people like, a lot of them are wastes of money, and we got to be able to distinguish between the two and make it more transparent so that they're not stuck into bills without anybody knowing about it. But they only cost, they amount to about 1% of the budget as well. What really accounts for our federal budget is Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, defense, interest on the national debt, and then everything else from national parks to environmental, the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. And in order, if you just wanted to cut the deficit to balance the budget only on non-discretionary or on discretionary non-defense spending, so if you wanted to exempt out all the entitlements, exempt defense, you'd have to cut all those other things by 60%. 60%. Can you imagine? So we've got to have an honest conversation about all the aspects of the budget. And that's what this commission was designed to do. That's why I think Judd Gregg was absolutely right. I support him on this. And we're going to set up a executive, by executive order, a commission to do this. But I want good ideas. It is not in my interest to bloat government with wasteful programs, because every time I spend money on a program that doesn't work, that's money that I'm not spending on early childhood education that would make a difference in a child's life, or on college scholarships to send kids to school. We've got to use our money more wisely. But that can only be done if both parties are responding to the interests of the American people and not their short-term politics. All right. See a woman's turn. All right. That young lady up there. Yes, you. Yes. You sound surprised. Oh, wait. I was calling on this young lady in the black blouse right here. I'm sorry. Sorry about that, but it's nice to see you, though. I may call on you in a second. Go ahead.
My name is Ashley Stebbins, and I live here in Nashua and attend Nashua High South. During your campaign, there was a lot of promises of transparency, but lately a lot of stuff in the media says that most of healthcare has been behind closed doors. I was just wondering how you would grade yourself on your transparent government. Well,
you know, I've got to be careful about grading myself. But I will tell you that a recent independent watchdog group took a look and said this has been the most transparent government, most transparent administration that we have seen in a very, very long time, perhaps in the modern era. And here's the reason. Let me just list off the things we've done. This is the first White House ever where you know every single person who visits the White House. Now, that seems like a small thing, but that means any lobbyist, any company, anybody who comes to visit the White House, you know who it is. The Recovery Act that I just talked about. We put every dollar of spending in the Recovery Act on a website. You can go and look up right now every dollar that's been spent in the Recovery Act. You know where it's been spent, who got contracts, how it's been spent. That's all there. Plain as day for everybody to see. So we've put more information online. We've declassified things that used to be classified. We've revamped the classification system so it's not used for us to just hide things that might be embarrassing to us. We posted salaries for everybody in the White House, all on a website, which, as you might imagine, when it comes out, everybody's looking in the White House. No, but seriously, we very much believe in transparency and accountability. Now, when it came to the health care debate, think about all the hours of congressional hearings, all the meetings that were on C-SPAN. I mean, they were constant. It took a year, remember? I did town hall meetings all across the country in August talking just about health care. So when people say, well, the negotiations weren't on C-SPAN, what they're frustrated about, and I take responsibility for this, is that after Congress had finally gone through its processes, the House had voted on a bill, the Senate had voted on a bill. It is true that I then met with the leaders and chairman of the House and the Senate to see what differences needed to be resolved in order to get a final package done. And that wasn't on C-SPAN. And look, I made that commitment, and I probably should have put it on C-SPAN. Although one of the tricky things is trying to figure out, well, if it is on C-SPAN, are people actually going to be saying what they think about trying to get the bill done, or is everybody going to be posturing